about is really at least a 50% or a 50% reduction in high-risk adenomas.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, look, when you get down to it, any reduction, as long as the medication is safe and doesn't cause other problems, any reduction is worthwhile. Okay, so I think that any patient that had this, I would certainly say take this medication, unless there's some contraindication. I would say take this medication because we'll be doing some good. We may not get to where we want to be. We may not prevent the need for a colectomy after all was said and done. But, we've got a chance. Okay? So I wouldn't even say 50% is the minimum. I would say something less than that. Probably, I would say maybe a 10 to 15% reduction would be worthwhile to take the medication if it is safe.
So if it's safe...
And affordable, I guess, is the other parameter there.
So safe, affordable, and when you say safe, low in side effects, I presume.
Yeah, because Sulindac, it's one of the non-steroidals, and of course, they have many side effects that, they can develop, so you have to be careful with that. Anybody with a propensity to peptic ulcer disease or renal disease or, something like that, you have to be careful with that. But, it's like everything else, weighing the risk and the benefit and seeing where you come out, in a sort of a semi-quantitative way.
So even a 10 to 15% reduction in high-risk adenomas would be significant enough to allow you to consider using the product?
Yes, I believe it would be, yes.
Okay. And what about a 30% reduction in the relative risk of surgery over 2 years? So number 3 there on the surgical ones.
Well, that would be significant. I mean, that would be certainly a selling point to use a medication. But the reason that would happen is because the polyp burden and the high-risk polyp burden have been reduced. I mean, one has to precede the other. Okay. So I think it's fine, but standing all by itself, it's not sufficient, I think.
Okay. So again, it comes back to the high-risk polyp burden, the burden of high-risk polyps and total polyp burden being the key things from your perspective as the gastroenterologist.
Right, and I may have a unique perspective compared with somebody who doesn't do colonoscopy, but I'm the one who has to go in, see the polyps, take them out, and deal with the fact that there are quite a number of them, So the fewer there are, the easier for me, more certain that it is that I'll protect the patient, not miss something, and, not miss a high grade one, so forth. So that would help me quite a bit. I guess that's why I'm focused on that.
Okay. And so they also have some patient-reported outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the safety, dosage, other stuff.
Yeah, well, the cancer worry we talked about before, that anxiety that I mentioned, is probably what patients can best describe. All right, stable and tolerated. Now, heart attack, of course, that was the deal with some of the non-steroidals that we were using. So this is fine. As safe as commonly used NSAIDs. So they're not always safe, but okay, that's fine. And dosage, they're oral, they're 2 a day. Okay. All right. Well, this is familiar territory. Okay, so we always hesitate a bit with non-steroidals used over long term. Again, we have populations that, are probably relatively maybe not absolutely, but relatively contraindicated for these things. You give somebody this that's had a history of peptic ulcer disease, you probably have to use proton pump inhibitors or some such thing to protect them. But that can be done. And cardiovascular effects were always a worry, but not seemingly here. Okay, and administration is something that would probably be reasonably easy to comply with. So I guess this doesn't change what I think too much, except, you have to know what you're doing with these medications and make sure you anticipate possible risks and do everything you can to mitigate it, understanding that nothing is perfect and you balance the risk and the benefit like everything else.
So let's just break this out into these 3 pieces here.